What's up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He fights Brian Ortega on the main card of Noche UFC 306. A little bit of deja vu with the three of us, but at least Fabiano looks safer this time. Diego Lopes, Fabiano Buscay, how are you guys doing?
Tô bem, tudo tranquilo, já aproveitando os últimos dias já para a próxima semana.
Everything cool, all good. Just enjoying the last days before next week.
It's sort of weird doing this again because it feels like we just had this conversation. So we've talked so much about like how your jujitsu matches up, how your striking matches up, but I think the most important question, Diego, who has the better hair, you or Brian Ortega?
Definitivamente yo.
Definitely,
Definitivamente yo.
definitely me. Definitely me.
A lot of confidence this time around. I really like it. I do want to ask one question about the actual sphere itself. It seems like no one really has any idea what to expect from this. Do you have any concerns at all about the presentation, if it'll like maybe be distracting fighting in that new space with all those screens around you?
La verdad no creo. Bueno, al menos para mí no. A lo mejor para otros atletas puede ser una distracción, pero pues al menos a mí no. Yo sé a lo que voy, yo sé cuál es mi misión ahí, ¿no? Tengo que llegar, tengo que hacer un trabajo bien hecho, salir con la victoria y listo. Yo siento que no me va a impresionar nada por lo que pueda ver ahí. A lo mejor, después que pase la pelea y vuelva a ver el video, pues a lo mejor sí, ¿no? Pero de momento no creo que va tener una distracción, ¿no?
hmm Maybe for other athletes, man, but not for me. Not for me. I know where I'm there for. I know why I'm in this situation. All I need to do is actually put on the work and just actually do a good job and come out with a victory. Yes. Um, Maybe after the fights, I'll watch the video and see what it looks like. But I think for me, that all of that is not going to be a distraction.
Obviously, you were supposed to fight Brian last time. Quite literally, at the final hour, he gets swapped in for Dan Ige. And I think people were maybe a little. I saw some feedback online of people disappointed that you didn't get the finish with Dan coming in on short notice. But I think people. Like, we've seen how short notice fights can cause a lot of upsets, and you still went there and you won. Can you sort of explain to people what they might not understand about the challenges of fighting an opponent on short notice when you were preparing for somebody else?
Sí, yo creo que pues la gente puede hablar muchas cosas, ¿no? Simplemente, más que contestar la pregunta, yo tengo una pregunta. Mencióname un nombre de un peleador que ha podido noquear o finalizar a Dan Ige. Simplesmente isso, ou seja, menciona-me um nome. Ou seja, se a gente não lo pudo fazer com o campamento completo, porque eu tenderia a obrigação de fazer com 2 semanas de aviso, contra alguém que tinha 3 meses de campamento, como era Dani, sem cortar peso, sem ter que desidratar-se, sem muitas coisas. Não é excusa, não é excusa. Não, a mim me gusta terminar minhas peleas, e a mim me hubiera encantado terminar a pelea, pero quero que a gente me diga um nome de alguém que ha podido finalizar a Dani e toda a sua carreira. Com que me diga um nome, com isso estou tranquilo.
Well, people can talk. People are going to talk. I would actually answer that with a question. How many fighters have finished or knocked out Danny? Because the question that I have for people is that people have not been able to do that on a full camp. What is there to be said of taking a short notice fight? He did mention just so now 2 weeks, but we know that for Danny it wasn't even the case.
Yeah.
But that's how I would answer to people. So how ask the question? You give me a name of someone that actually trained for Danny, got prepared, got out there, knocked him out or finished him, and then I'll be fine. I'll be fine when you give me the name.
I like that answer. As we begin to, that was a miraculous short notice turnaround, but you have an even tighter turnaround and plan. Realistically, how are you going to finish that fight in time and get back to the locker room to walk Alexa Grasso out and corner her? Is this even like physically, logistically possible?
Pois é, justamente lo estamos por averiguar la próxima semana, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué es lo que tenemos que hacer pues para que eso pueda suceder, ¿no? Yo tengo un objetivo que es salir y ganar mi pelea, ¿no? Pero yo he mencionado, Sabemos que Brian Ortega es un peleador muy duro, así como por terminar la pelea rápido, pues los dos podemos acabar muy mal también, ¿no? Con una guerra, ¿no? Pues puede pasar eso, porque es un peleador muy duradero, es un peleador que ha tenido muchas guerras, ¿no? Yo sé que no es fácil de finalizarlo, pero yo quiero ser el primero en hacer eso, ¿no? El primero en poder terminar rápido a Brian Ortega, ¿no? Ese es mi objetivo, pues para poder correr al vestuario, cambiar de ropa y pues estar en la esquina de Alexa.
So well, we're about to find out next week. Let's see what happens next week. I think, listen, it could be, a quick finish. We could end up in a three-round war. So depending on what happens, listen, we know that he's a tough fighter. We know that Brian is a durable fighter. We know somebody, but again, finishing him is no easy task. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens next week when we go into that fight, and we're gonna make that happen, and then just go out there and go walk around.
Last thing on Brian, in the time between 303 and now, do you perceive him differently in any way, or is it just is there anything you've learned from him since we last spoke?
No, pues sigue siendo la misma, ¿no? Es un peleador que ya tengo muchos años acompañando su carrera, entonces la opinión no ha cambiado. Sabemos pues de sus calidades, ¿no? Sabemos de lo que es capaz y pues nosotros solo estamos preocupados pues en hacer el nuestro de la mejor manera como hemos hecho en todas las peleas y salir con la victoria.
I know, no, it hasn't changed because it's a fighter that I've been following for years. We know what he's capable. We know his experience. We know what he's all about. And I'm not worried about that. And nothing has changed. All I'm worried about is us putting in the work and actually doing our jobs there and come out with a victory.
Featherweight champion Ilia Topuria did an interview recently with MMA Junkie, and he thinks that this fight with Brian could be a title eliminator, and he actually said he'd be very interested in giving you a title shot. He says you've been very respectful towards him. How does it feel to sort of get that validation from the champ and that interest that he has in fighting you?
No, pues yo creo que si nos está mencionando es por algo, ¿no? Yo creo que está pendiente de lo que estamos haciendo nosotros, ¿no? Ele sabe que pues podemos ser una buena pelea para él también, un gran reto también, porque no por nada el campeón menciona el número 12, ¿no? Dime a un campeón que ha mencionado que un número 12 podría ser el siguiente contendiente a título después de ganar su pelea. Entonces, si él me está mencionando es por algo y mi enfoque principal es eso. Ganar mi pelea de una forma contundente para que mi nombre esté en la mesa para la pelea de título más adelante.
I think it's a great they actually mentioned this because if he's saying my name, it is for a reason. You tell me a champion that goes out there and mentions the number 12 in the rankings. So if you give me one champion that has literally mentioned by name the number 12 guy in the rankings to actually be the next title contender, that means that he is aware what we're doing, he's seen what we're doing. And that just gives me more motivation to go out there, do my job, get this win, so that my name is on the table to be the next title contender.
And that name is Diego Lopes. Last thing before I let you go, you said you're preparing for a war with Brian Ortega. What is going on in this video here?
Pues simplemente está pasando, pues está demostrando pues el guerrero que somos, ¿no? Pues en este video está yo y mi hermano, pues Alessandro. Y pues nada, simplemente nos gustan los atuendos, ¿no? Y pues estamos en la casa de un amigo y nuestro amigo tenía esto como de colecciones y cuando lo vimos fue de que hoy hay que ponernos porque representa lo que somos, ¿no? Unos guerreros.
No, that just shows, that we're ready. It's myself and my brother Alessandro there, and we're a friend of ours. We're at a friend of ours' house, and he's got these collector's items. So he said, "Listen," and that's what we need to put because we are warriors.